What's happening, guys and gals? Welcome to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, live from the Still Basement. What is happening, everybody? Hope everybody is well. Hope you've had a great week. Was nothing for us to talk about during the week. Ain't nothing for us to talk about this week, tonight. But I got a couple things that'll stretch us a little bit of time. But I'm telling you guys, information is paper thin right now. There's not a whole lot to cover. But with that being said, I hope you all had a great week. I hope you had you're having a great start to this week. And yeah, man, nothing for us to complain about, man. We here, we living, we breathing, we're healthy. I'm hoping that is the case for each and every one of y'all. So what's happening, good people? Hope you guys are doing well. Let's say hello to some of the early commenters, and then we'll get right to it. Excuse me. Mark Cunningham, my man, in the building. Hello, Lanisha. The lovely Lanisha in the building, faithful in every week. Lanisha, I was in your neck of the woods. I was in Florida. I couldn't say it last week. You might remember that I caught myself. I couldn't say it last week, but I will explain that in just a moment. It was kind of a surprise. My man Y Diggy in the building. What's up, Y Diggy? CT Pittman in the building. Few late nights in the building. Speaking of which, CT Pittman, maybe even Y Diggy, got some Madden content coming your way right after this show. It's gonna be a full game. It's a face cam, so you'll see me talking and things of that nature. But it is not a stream. You know, it's pre-recorded. Some people don't understand that. I know you guys do, but so there you have it. And then outside of that, I'm gonna be watching some Western Conference Finals. Dietrich Bundy, brother man to you. Who else is in here early? Crazy Ron Gaming, my man Antoine Hill in the building as well. And I think that's about it as far as early commenters. You know, you guys know this is the slow part of the season, man. Slow content, slow viewership, all of that. But y'all my family. I come and rock with y'all regardless, whether it's the slow period or the fast period. But let's get into it. First thing I'm going to start with, guys, and this is kind of a random topic that I thought about here as I was sitting here, guys, like just momentarily before I started the show. I just want to go through and look at all of the transactions the Steelers have made up until this point before I get to my main topic. My main topic is simply a question or a statement. Give me a reason to care. And I'm going to tell you guys what I'm talking about when I get there. Y'all probably can figure it out. But let's just go back, man. Let's go back and look at everything that the Steelers did from a transaction standpoint. And we'll kind of assess it. Because I do think some of these things are perhaps going under the radar. I saw a few people saying that, you know, the quarterback controversy and all of that and the situation that the Steelers currently have has dominated the headlines, and rightfully so. But are we as fans, right? Are we overlooking or are we devaluing other transactions? So I'm going to read through them quickly and you know, we'll get the sentiment from you guys. You guys are going to be a big part of the show tonight. So let's get to it. So, you know, the first one, after some of the released guys, you know, we got a couple futures contracts, you know, your Jonathan Wards, your Cameron McCutcheons of the world. You know, nothing to talk about. They released Preston Smith. Not mad at that. And then as early as February 21st, they did sign Donald Parham Jr. to a one-year contract. Nothing to write home there. You know, bigger body tight end, if you will. You know, I guess you could kind of compare him a little bit to who was that we released? Michael Pruitt. You know, a bigger guy. So I'm not mad at that. Again, I don't know if it's anything that you could write home about, but I do think Parham has, you know, a couple little moments that he could offer you here and there. The same thing he did with the Chargers. You know, probably, I'm not even going to say probably, a little faster, a little more nimble, I guess, if you will, than a Pruitt. Hold on, guys. I think my camera went out. I think the camera went out. Can you guys confirm, is the camera still showing up or no? Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know. Confirm if the camera is out. It's frozen. That's what I thought. Hold on. It's weird. I don't know why. Hold on. I don't know why it's frozen, man. I got, it should be charged. Hold on, guys. If not, y'all are just going to hear me tonight. Because, I use a DSLR. Yeah, it's not. The battery is saying the battery is exhausted. Wow. That is interesting, man, because I just recorded a little while ago. And that's how I got the footage. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this off for a moment. And we'll see if we can get it to charge. And, we'll come back here in a moment. It's weird, guys. Speaking of that, that's a side note. Let me put something up. Hold on. Let me see if I can show something. So you guys are just not looking at a black screen. Hold on. Let me see. Y'all not even seeing the logo. What in the world is going on, man? Hold on. Very strange indeed. Yeah, I don't know. Nothing is showing up. Hold on, I'm gonna give y'all something to look at. Hold on, guys. Give me a second. Talk amongst yourselves. Guess what? I could put on the screen what I'm talking about here, and then I'll come back for the last piece of the show. There we go. Hello, Babar. Let's see. I want to adjust this a little bit. You guys can see. Hold on, guys. Work with me, not against me. There we go. I'm getting her right, man. Hold on, guys. Work with your boy. There we go. Put a little something on the screen. So at least that way, man, it's something up for you to look at. My man, Daron. Yes. My man said we are at the hospital. They said they might be taking the baby tonight or tomorrow. Okay. So let me tell you something, Daron. And real quick, man, can you confirm, is this your first? Is this your first child? I didn't ask that question. I don't want to assume anything. But let me know, man, and then I'll get into my spiel based off of your answer. SGN says, play some SGN videos. Well, SGN, I got a video coming your way right after this, man. I will be posting it as a premiere. I actually was able to play another game today. I played it's week 3. For whatever reason, I couldn't upload the Broncos footage. I don't know what's going on, man, with Adobe. Sometimes when it's 2 videos and I don't chop it up, it doesn't upload it. So I ended up playing another game. It's a face cam. So it's gonna look like I'm streaming, but you guys know how that works. I will release that tonight. I'm gonna release that tonight right after the show, so you guys can enjoy that on the side while you enjoy some basketball. But waiting for Daron to respond, and then I'll get to it. But congratulations either way, my good brother. I hope the missus is, she's hanging in there. I don't know if you guys are going traditional or whether or not, she's being guided by the drugs that they like to give you in the hospital when you are, involved in baby delivery. But whatever the case may be, good luck to the both of you, man. God bless you, and God bless that new baby boy that's waiting to come into the world, man. Daron says C-section. Yeah. What I was asking though, Daron, if you heard me or not, is this your first child? I always want to know that. I always want to know if you already had kids, if it's your first experience. So, if you could answer that for me. But let's continue, guys, while we wait on Daron. As you can see, guys, on March the 10th. Pittsburgh Steelers tendered an offer to restricted free agent Jaylen Warren. Not mad at that. They signed Ryan McCullum. Not mad at that. And they released Larry Ogunjobi. Not mad at that either, guys. I mean, listen, it gets to a point where if you're not getting supreme production, from an older guy that costs some money, you already have to pay Cam Hayward. There's no problem with going out there and trying to find a replacement or, acquire more depth to your room via draft. And as you see the way that we went in the first round, clearly we understand why they did that, right? So I'm not mad at that as well. Let me take a moment here. Deron says, no, it is our third together and we have 6 all together. You know what, Deron? I kind of remember that now that you say that. I thought, I said to myself, wait, I think Deron had kids as well already. So congratulations to all of them. And you said this is our third together. It is a C-section, and I believe you said it's a baby boy. So let me get into my quick spill. I'm gonna be very brief here. I don't know if any of you all have experienced it before, but let me tell you something. Watching that C-section will definitely make a man out of you. Let me tell you something. Holy moly. Now, I have not seen a natural birth. I've only had the privilege to see my son being born via C-section. Same situation, it sounds like that Deron is having. Had us come in, she starts to dilate, yada, yada, yada. They say eventually, after about 24 hours, hey, this kid's shoulders is broad. We don't know if he's going to make it through. We might as well go get him. They went and got him, and Lord have mercy. Let me tell y'all. I just hope that you're not squeamish. I hope the sight of blood doesn't bother you, and I hope that you literally, not figuratively, but literally seeing somebody inside and out doesn't bother you. Holy moly. It is a thing to see. It is fascinating and very wow-esque, if you will. So shout outs to you guys, man. Hopefully, like I said, not even hopefully, we know everything will go well. And what a beautiful thing it is to bring new life to the world. All right, guys, let's get back to it. Oh, man, round of applause to my main man, Sim Gaming Network, man. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. He became a extended family member, and I think, you know what? I think it's only right, and not just because you did, but I realize that you have a channel as well where, you accept membership. So I think it's only right that I will get to that, man. And I will get to that as soon as I remember. We've been following each other for years, so why not do it in the sense of the channel? So thank you for initiating that, man. I will definitely get to that as well. So appreciate you, brother. All right, guys, so let's run through the rest of this really quick, man. Like I said, I don't have a lot to talk about tonight, but I wanted to just bring up the point. Are we over, maybe not really looking at some of the other things that the Steelers did, because the dominating headline is the quarterback situation? Steelers also signed Brandon Echols to a 2-year contract. I'm curious to see how this one plays out. Very curious to see that. Know who he is, of course, but I didn't see a lot of him at the Jets. I've seen him play outside. I've seen him play inside. But because he also plays outside, I am very curious to see how the Steelers plan to use him. Again, you guys know that we signed Darius Slay, who, of course, will just be a veteran leadership who can still play, Super Bowl champion. But I am curious to see what they're going to do with this guy, man. Is he a type of guy that comes in and perks up, right? Is he a type of guy that comes in and he ends up being the Steelers' next Deshaun Elliott, right? From a cornerback standpoint, meaning, bounced around the league a little bit, but comes to the Steelers and plays well. Could be. Maybe this defense bodes well for him. We shall see. So this is the guy I'm going to keep my eyes on. The next up, guys, is Kenneth Gainwell. This is another interesting one, because now that we've seen how the draft has played out, now I'm curious to know was Gainwell really a special teams guy? Remember, he returns kicks. So now, as we sit here on May 20th, seeing all of the transactions up to this point makes me question certain things now. Before we drafted a running back, which we knew we would, I was like, okay, Jaylen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell, okay, they'll have another guy back them up. But no. I think, I wholeheartedly think that you're going to see a lot of Caleb Johnson, right? Caleb Johnson at some point might even end up getting the bulk, the bulk of the share, the chunk of the carries, right? He might be the first guy. You never know. Right? So does Gainwell really fall into that mix carrying the football? Maybe not. Last year we were more of a 1-2. Patterson would come in from time to time. But I think Gainwell probably would replace Cordarrelle Patterson, because at this point, I don't think we need Cordarrelle Patterson, man. Just my opinion. Oh, man, another round of applause, man. Lawrence Holcomb, appreciate you becoming an extended family member. Round of applause to that. Appreciate y'all, man. I really do, man. Becoming a channel member, not only is it a monetary commitment, but it just means that you're invested in the channel, and I really appreciate that, man. So I thank you guys who do that, of course, each and every month. Next up, Malik Harrison. Not so much of an impact signing, but it's a key one to pay attention to, right? Because I think this, in my opinion, makes our inside linebacker position a little more well-rounded. Malik Harrison is easily going to take the place and take the spot of one Mark Robinson. Mark Robinson has been as far as a defender, hasn't played much, but, decent on special teams. But I think you're going to replace that production, even with guys like Bruner and guys like Jack Sawyer. Jack Sawyer, even as an edge rusher, is probably going to be a special teamer as a backup linebacker and as a rookie. So I think they will be able to replace what we're getting from Mark Robinson. And like I said, I think Malik Harrison has had a better career in the NFL. So now you're looking at, Patrick Queen, Peyton Willis, Cole Holcomb, Malik Harrison. Sounds good to me, versus Mark Robinson being that interior in linebacker, as well as, again, the Broner kid is probably going to stick around at least for special teams. So I'm cool with having him and Harrison compete for that fourth spot or rotation piece at times. So there you have it. Round of applause to brother, man, to you. I appreciate it, man. The Wonder Bread. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you guys, man, and thank you so much for that, giving me that Wonder Bread. Let's see. Next up, man, we have the old veteran, man, Darius Slay. 1-year contract. So again, another reason why I say keep an eye on Echols. He signed a 2-year contract, but I'm just saying, is this a guy that, is he going to be Joe Hayden in the sense of coming in when you're older to mentor and be the veteran in the group, as well as play a lot? Because remember, Joe Hayden ended up playing a lot. Paid Joe Hayden some pretty good money, right? And if you're talking about outside cornerbacks right now, the Steelers, if I'm not mistaken, man, we'll look at the roster really quick in a second just to confirm. But I mean, we're talking about Corey Trice, and that's about it, right? You Darius Slay, of course, and this is why I think Brandon Echols is probably going to get an opportunity on the outside. Might play on the inside as well, but that's about it. So let's really pay attention to that, man. Yeah, Kenya just said it. Yeah, we a little thin right there, man, when you talk about who they are. Interesting. Man, round of applause for Maestro Fresh. Appreciate the Wonder Bread. Oh, that's right. That is right. And thank you, Maestro says, we are shaping up. Yeah, man, we're making some little moves, man. That's why I just wanted to rehash this and show you guys, definitely wanted to show you guys all of this as far as what we've done leading up to now. And yes, that's right. I forgot about Pierre. I forgot we got Pierre back. So again, it still look a little shaky. JPJ, Trice, Pierre, and Slay. Right now, of course, JPJ is the top dog in terms of, he's going to be more of your number one. Slay comes in and is probably going to be the number two. But yeah, man, Corey Trice, let's see how he develops. We got opportunity to get a few bumps and bruises last season, get his feet wet. So, if Corey Trice can develop, I'm still high on what he could be just off of the sheer size and what he's shown us in his limited time, just from a press, a bump and run type of corner. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, let's continue, man. And then, boom, the big one. The Steelers acquired DK Metcalf, and we already know what that's about. But there's nothing else to talk about there. We can move on, right? And then they signed Mason Rudolph to a 2-year contract. And, as we look at it now, look at this. We all laughed at this at first, right? May 13th, acquired DK Metcalf, and then, March 13th. And then the very next day, March 14th, we signed Mason Rudolph to a 2-year contract. And a lot of us laughed at that and said, Rudolph is back in the building. But as we sit here today on May 20th, that may be the Steelers starting quarterback. Again, it may be. We don't know, but it's plausible to say where he might be the guy because of the quarterback situation. Now, this one here, no disrespect to Scotty Miller, man, but we signed Scotty Miller. This doesn't perk anybody up, I wouldn't think. Scotty Miller, man, is one of those guys that might be able to do something with his speed here and there, but I don't think he's going to be a huge contributor, right? But I'm cool with him for special teams and things of that nature. And like I said, a veteran guy that could come in, man, and, you never have enough personnel, in my opinion. If you can go out there and run your 11 or 12 personnel or whatever you want to run, and, you can keep rotating guys, and one of those snaps is taken by Scotty Miller, you're not mad at that. Scotty Miller had a couple opportunities last season, didn't always get him the ball, but this wasn't a signing that made us say, jump for joy. However, the reason why I think you didn't see much Scotty Miller because of this guy, Ben Skoranek. Ben Skoranek, you guys remember, if you watched the show during the season, he continued to grow on me. And I continued to say as the season progressed, hey, man, I like this Skoranek guy. Tough guy, but what I liked mostly about him was his blocking. And, just his attitude. Remember, it was his block. Remember that long run that Najee had? Ben Skoranek. Right? But he just started to show up. Y'all remember that? He just started to show up more and more. Special teams guy as well. Big body guy. So again, somebody else you can throw out there when we run 12. Sometimes even they had him lined up as a tight end when we were in 13, right? Even though it might have been more than, he wasn't necessarily a tight end, but we ran him like a tight end. But again, definitely in 12 personnel, when it was clear that we were running the football, we would bring Ben Skoranek in as one of the receivers in 12. And he did what he had to do. So I was cool with that. Not mad at this signing at all. I think you could probably find a show of me saying, I hope they bring him back. I'm sure y'all remember that. Kenyon remembers that because we talked about it quite a bit. This one here, he just, Loudermilk hasn't really shown a reason for us to be excited. Let's just say that. He's had his opportunities. This is clearly just a depth thing. I don't know if the Steelers still think that he's going to turn out to be anything. I mean, again, remember, they just but they just loaded up on defensive linemen in the draft. A guy like Harmon is definitely can play the D tackle position in sub package as well. And then, big boy, Wyatt Black, y'all already know what time it is with him and more of a base situation. So yeah, I think Loudermilk's days are numbered. D tackle Daniel, is it Ikule? I don't know how you pronounce his name, but this is the kid from New England, I think. Didn't know much about him, so I didn't have much of an opinion. Then we signed Juan Thornhill. You guys might not, y'all might not agree, but I really appreciated this signing. I liked Juan Thornhill coming out of college, man. Kenyon and I both like this guy coming out of college. So any guys that I know had some talent, yeah, I haven't followed their entire career, but I definitely know there was some talent there. And I think, you know, if you're getting Juan Thornhill as a complimentary piece to your safety room, I'm cool with that. You know, think about dime package. So I want you guys to think about that, the dime package. And when the Steelers like to employ their 3 safety look, we've been doing that since Morgan Burnett. We've been trying to do that since Morgan Burnett. And since there was other kid's name, Cam Kelly, you know, since the other league guy was signed, we've been trying to run that 3 safety look. So Juan, I think, is going to give you that, man. So, you know, whatever KZ didn't give you, they're hoping to get from Juan Thornhill. And how funny is it that the Cleveland Browns signed KZ? Interesting, right? So I was, excuse me, guys, I'm burping and stuff. My bad. I was, you know, kind of thrilled to see this one because I think he could offer us some things based off of what we're going to ask him to do, okay? Because, you know, not like a lot of Steeler Nation, I don't look at each and every signing and think, how does that help? He's not even gonna, everybody's not a starter, guys. You have to remember there's more than just the 22 players that you know. There's depth. That's how rosters are made. That is how teams win the Super Bowl. It's depth. So yes, you're asking me, am I cool with Juan Thornhill as a depth piece? I am. D tackle, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, so I don't want to disrespect him, but I don't know nothing about him, so this didn't move the needle for me at all. And there goes James Pierre. We know what James Pierre is. Has been a relatively good gunner. There's times in certain games that we've put James Pierre in the game just to play man coverage, and he did okay. I want to say even against one of those years when we played the Eagles and we ended up putting Pierre on A.J. Brown and slowed him down a little bit, even though I think Brown ended up having 3 touchdowns, I think, in that game, 2 or 3, but at least Pierre slowed him down once we started putting him on him. So not mad at this because, like I said, this is more of a special teams and depth situation. I would talk about this Smith guy here, but I'm not because I think the Steelers have already released him. So let's move on. Jeremiah Moon signed to a 1-year contract. This depth again, but again, now I look at it a little differently with having Jack Sawyer, right? So you got to look at these type of things because you never know if the Steelers are going to keep 4 inside backers or 4 outside edge guys, right? They usually, most of the time, the Steelers have 9 linebackers. They either go 5 edge or 5 inside, and then it's only 4 kept, whichever one they don't keep 5, they keep 4 most of the time. So you have to look at this right now on March 28th, okay, depth. But now after the draft, you get Jack Sawyer. So now right there, you would expect, even as a draftee, right, you would expect he's going to be slotted for the 4th spot. So Jeremiah Moon would be fighting him to stick on the roster if the Steelers' intention is to only keep 4 edge guys. You already got, of course, TJ, Highsmith, Herbig, and Jack Sawyer is going to make the team, folks. So now this one doesn't mean much to me now. Cool with this one as well for depth. I'm cool with this for depth, even though I don't know much about sharping, but I'm just saying, offensive lineman depth, can never be upset about that. And let's see, we already know how the draft went. Excellent pick, Derek Harmon. Excellent pick, Caleb Johnson. Very good pick. I won't say excellent because it's not like he's going to necessarily get a lot of snaps the first year, but I would say very good pick. Definitely where you got him, right? So I'm not trying to disrespect Jack by not saying excellent. I'm just saying I coin these guys excellent, not only because of the value, but you're going to use them quite much this season. So Derek Harmon is an excellent pick, and Caleb Johnson is excellent, and then very good pick in Jack Sawyer, getting him where you got him, right? And then Wyatt Black. This is the Steelers just double dipping on the D-line. I didn't know much about him, learned a little more about him as I've been watching Iowa tape, but I didn't know much about him before that, so I can't say it excited me. And I'm going to give y'all another one. Very good pick here. Some of y'all disagree. Man, let me tell you something. Getting Will Howard, what round did he go? 6? Hey, man. Again, some of you guys might not think he's the best, you might not think he's the best quarterback in the world, but he's not a bum. This is good value in the 6th round, even if he only ends up being a backup to whoever the Steelers may potentially draft next year. Not mad at this one at all. And hey, this guy could end up being the starter this season. Could very well. Again, he's in play. As we sit here today, he's in play. And to be able to spend a 6th round on that, I'm not mad at that at all. Definitely not mad at this one either. Carson Bruner, you guys, you know the bloodline. Mark Bruner's son. He was a tackle machine. And there's your special teams demon right there. Now, this one here, I didn't know much about him, man. I thought he was interesting. Dante Kent, very interesting, man. The graphic that I saw on him, and I think Alex Kazora even posted it. The dude was like #1 in PBUs, but then also dead last in big plays given up. So this is going to be interesting to see if he can scrap his way onto the roster and where he would land, so to speak. So again, I don't know much about Dante Kent. Have not watched Central Michigan yet to give you an assessment, but will be very interesting to see how that plays out. So this guy here, I'm not going to talk about all of these, UDFAs because I don't know them all. So, I'm this is why I'm one of y'all's favorite YouTubers, man. Some of y'all tell me I'm your favorite because I keep it real. I ain't going to sit here and lie to y'all, act like I know all of these players, like I'm Daniel Jeremiah or somebody. No, I'm not. I don't. I don't. The only one of these guys that I could really tell you that I know a little bit about is him right here. Why? Because I have been seeing him over the last few years, but then I've also watched more Iowa film. And now because we have Iowa guys on defense and also our running back, Caleb Johnson, came from Iowa. When I watch Iowa's tape, I have to watch the whole game now. And I've learned a lot about this guy. So I'm very happy to see and very excited to see that he's a UDFA and to see how he will make, where he would land and what role he plays when you talk about a 3 safety look or even a dime package, whether you want to play him at corner or play him at safety. Because one thing I did see in Iowa and Kenyon, I'm talking to you right now, we talk to each other out loud here on the show. I noticed a couple things, Kenyon, I meant to text you about. It looks like they play Castro a little bit sometimes in the nickel. I might have even asked you this in text. I just don't remember now. But so I've seen him more in a traditional safety lineup when they go more of their dime package or when it's a for sure passing down. But it also seems like he plays a lot of that nickel area. Or even if he's not the traditional nickel, a lot of times when dime, you can line up like that. He might be a safety, but he's playing over top of a slot guy. Even like if the offense comes out and, 2 wide on both sides, you got doubles on each side. Sometimes, you'll get a guy kind of playing the inside receiver, not necessarily quote unquote a slot, but he's kind of checking that slot position. I saw a lot of that from him. A lot of that. So correct me if I'm wrong, Kenya, but I think I saw a lot of that. So I'm very interested to see where they're going to play this guy. And then here's the other guy that y'all told me, man, that I got to do my homework on, and I've committed to do that. Haven't started yet. Rock Taylor. You guys are telling me to keep my eyes out on him. You guys are saying this dude is a stud. He's 6'3", 200 plus. So I will give you my report on him when I have a chance to watch. Kenya says, yeah, Sim, they play him in the nickel. I saw. Yeah, they do, man, a lot. So that makes me wonder how the Steelers might be able to use him if he sticks around. You know, we don't know if these guys are going to pan out, but we'll see. Okay, Kenya says he's slow. Yeah, he didn't look like he had a lot of closing speed. He just seems like he's a worker bee, if you will. You know, he's busy. He's all over the place, but definitely, you're right. It definitely didn't appear to look too fast. You know, he plays with effort, but you know, there were a couple times where it looks like he couldn't quite get there. So something to keep an eye on. And then here we go, guys. Robert Woods. We already know what this is going to be. This is that veteran receiver. This is that Allen Robinson type of guy. You know, he may give you some possession downs and just being more of the veteran head in that receiver group, even though DK Metcalf, you know, clearly is a veteran at this point. But also, yeah, you know, so I'm not mad at this one. Again, the Steelers have been doing it, whether we like it or not. They've been doing this the last few years, right? They've been doing this the last few years where they have a veteran guy like that to come in and be that presence, and you're going to use him for possession downs and things of that nature. And yes, Kenyon is absolutely right. Number 34, linebacker for Iowa, is nice. That dude is all over the place. I like him a lot too. But all right, man, that's all I got in that regard. So hold on, guys. Give me 2 seconds. Let me see if I can get this camera back on so I can at least finish this show up with my last topic. And it's a very short one. Very short one. Let's see if the camera will stay on. Hold on, y'all. I don't understand why it didn't charge, because this thing is supposed to be powered via USB. So I do not understand, good people, why it doesn't stay on. So hold on, y'all gonna see me make some adjustments here in a second. You're gonna see something pop up on the screen. Hold on. And then you should see my ugly mug. There I go. There I be. Hold on. Voila, magic. All right, so let's do this really quick before it goes out. Last topic of the night is the statement that I have in the title. Can you guys give me a reason to care? Give me a reason to care. And you know what I'm talking about. Aaron Rodgers. Give me a reason at this point on May 20th, 2025 to care whether Aaron Rodgers plays for the Steelers or not. I'm gonna give you all about 5 minutes, maybe less, because I'm gonna go watch some basketball. Somebody just give me y'all's reason, whether you care or don't, and I'm gonna read them, and I'm gonna comment and laugh and joke and have fun with you guys' comments, because I know some of y'all are gonna say some funny stuff. Give me a reason to care about Aaron Rodgers signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2025, especially with everything that we know now. And again, forgot to mention this transaction. No more George Pickens. There's no more of having these two dynamic guys on the outside. Again, somebody else could step up. It could be Wilson. It could be a free agent signing. It could be Rock Taylor or whoever. But I'm just saying, as we know it today, some of us were going to get excited about, oh, well, let's just see what he could do with DK Metcalf and George Pickens on the outside. Well, that ain't happening now. So give me a reason to care whether Aaron Rodgers plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers or not. Let me see what y'all got. Brother Man says no about Rodgers. What else y'all got? Yeah, I don't see none of y'all talking about it. Y'all talking about them more likely getting their quarterback next year. The Allard kid. I'm seeing people talk about him. That's the Penn State kid, right? And Newsmayor, yeah. Mark Cunningham says, I got nothing, Sim. If he comes, he comes. That's it. Walter Worthy says, I'm down with the elderly, not holding my breath. Brother man says Rodgers' tactics have overstayed his welcome, and it is not worth the headache, period. Yeah. My man Sim Gaming Network says, what color Aaron Rodgers jersey are you copping? I am not. And here's the thing, man. SGN, I'm sure, has some fanfare for Rodgers. I'm assuming, because he is a Packers fan, and ironically, SGN guys like my good man SGN there were able to celebrate a Super Bowl victory in his time watching the Packers beat one Pittsburgh Steelers team. And I was very afraid of Aaron Rodgers then. If any of you guys remember me, I don't think I had the show then. I definitely don't recall that, but as far as the YouTube thing. But if any of you guys remember that know me personally, you would remember me saying, I don't like this matchup because Aaron Rodgers was just playing lights out, man. And, I thought he would take advantage of big play Willie Gay getting matched up against Jordy Nelson. And we saw it. I mean, it was one play, one touchdown where William Gay was in good position, man, but Rodgers was just pinpoint accurate, man. Nothing we could do. So I'm sure SGN has a little bit of a love affair, man, with Rodgers, rightfully so. At least during that time. Steeler Card says I could care less. As do I, man. I feel the same way. Lanisha says, do I want Rodgers? No. Do I think he's coming? Yes. And that's the part that bothers me, Lanisha. I'll tell you in a minute why. CT Pittman says, I've been over it, just ready to get to training camp and see what's good. Yep. Lawrence says, I care because I truly believe that he has to have some reclamation, okay, from his time with the Jets. And also, I truly believe that Tomlin's future might be dependent on Rodgers. Nah, not that part. Not the future part, but definitely that first part. But listen, I don't think Tomlin's future hinges on anything but the Rooney's deciding along with Tomlin that it's time to go down another road. They're not going to fire him. I doubt very seriously they would fire a head coach, and Tomlin is locked up, guys, if I'm not mistaken, through the 2027 season. He's locked up for 3 more seasons. So if we don't believe that he would be fired, which I don't, they never fired a head coach. Both Chuck Noll and Bill Cowher, also Super Bowl champions, Chuck being the pinnacle, they had horrible seasons. Mike Tomlin has not. So I just think from an organization standpoint, the chances of you guys seeing Mike Tomlin get fired are very slim. The best that you can hope for is that, they do not re-up his contract another time. But I'm pretty confident that you guys will see Mike Tomlin through the 2027 season. And that's just, that's just me trying to use some type of logic. Kenyon says Aaron Rodgers can do him, Sim. It's only the fair weathers, best writers, pundits, and beat writers, excuse me. Who cares about Aaron Rodgers? The Steelers know what Rodgers is doing, and that's all that matters. That is very true, man. I do believe that I definitely believe that the Steelers, they know. Rodgers said as much when he was on McAfee. They know. They know what he's doing, and it's frustrating for fans, right? For fans, because we don't know, But at the end of the day, does it really matter? If we learn that he's coming or it don't, none of it really matters until he's there, right? I guess you could say it from a player standpoint. I wish there would be more camaraderie started early, but again, he's already worked out with DK, and he could be doing things on the side that we don't know about, but at this point, let me give you my last opinion on it before I get out of here. I could care less, man. At this point, again, I'm going to say it over and over and over. Aaron Rodgers does not take the Steelers to the Super Bowl in my estimation. It would have been a wonderful thing and an exciting thing to see Aaron Rodgers with DK Metcalf and George Pickens, and then along with the other weapons that the Steelers would have had, then that makes Pat Freiermuth even more potent. That makes a Darnell Washington more of a threat down the seam, right? That makes Calvin Austin using his speed and coming to life a little bit like he did last year in the slot. And whatever you think Roman Wilson could give you. And also being able to run the ball with Jaylen Warren and Caleb Johnson. And, oh, man. But with George Pickens being removed, it's going to be hard to replace, I'm not going to just say that production, but that big playability. Why is that important that I say that? Well, Arthur Smith, we know what his offense was, right? We've seen it in Tennessee. You saw it a little bit in Atlanta, but you probably remember it more for Tennessee. But more recently, we saw it in Pittsburgh with a dual threat quarterback and a more traditional quarterback. We saw it. It's taking shots downfield, outside the numbers. I don't believe there's many people in the league, in the league right now that's going to replace that element of George Pickens. Can you possibly replace his production? And I'm just talking about numbers. Possibly. With a number of guys, or maybe another guy is getting the ball more. But that big play, flip the field ability, I don't believe there's many people out there that you immediately replace that. So if you take that element away, I just don't see them as being a Super Bowl team. And if that's not the case, right, if you don't really think there's a shot, then what's the point? What is the point? Unless there's another big move up their sleeve that we don't know about. But other than that, what is the point? Rock out with who you have, whether that be Mason Rudolph or you give Will Howard a chance to start, and you retool and load up next year. Go get you who you believe could be your franchise QB if it's not Will Howard. And with all them other picks, you got picks to pick. You know what I mean? To get other talent. And then there's free agency all over again. And you shoot for the moon. That's my opinion. I just don't see the value of Aaron Rodgers and all of that drama that it's going to come with when you don't even have the dual threat option. Again, guys, if we're just giving him DK Metcalf, and that ain't no slight to DK, but if you're just giving him one big play guy, you know what I mean? Doesn't move the needle that much. Now, one challenge I can have to that, because I'm going to counter my own point, and some people will say, well, we had moments last year and it was only GP and the others. And Russell Wilson was able to connect with GP and Justin Fields a few times before he went out. And GP was the only threat, and it forced guys like Calvin Austin to come to life and Pat Freiermuth. Okay, fair point. So some people might say, well, if we were able to get humming like that along with the run game for a stint last season, some people would say Aaron Rodgers could do that better than Russell Wilson at this stage. Okay, fair. But then I would counter my point again. This is weird, me countering myself. My last counter would be, well, look at what happened in the last 5 games. The film was out now. Should I remind you? And my best friend in the world is listening to this, because he texted me a little while ago. I don't know if he's still listening, but I hate to share something that his team said about us. He's a Raven fan. But y'all remember what that dude said? Hey, Russell Wilson has no mid-range. It's either three-pointer or layup. No midi. So all we do is protect that, tackle that, and they can't beat us. And he was correct. So that is my fear. That would happen to Aaron Rodgers too. Eventually. Take DK Metcalf away and make other people beat you. So in that, I say, it doesn't move the needle that much. Does not make the Steelers a Super Bowl team. So with that being said, I have not been given a reason to care. And we shall see if he comes or if he don't. Oh, well. But yeah, man, that's why we love this thing, man. We have fun. We have fun. We sit here and chop it up. We have fun. Sorry, guys, I didn't get to as many comments tonight. Let me read one last one. Lawrence says, Sim, I hear you, brother, but we play to win the games. You're right. If Rodgers or anyone can make us better or help us win, I'm all for it. I'm with you. I'm with you, Lawrence. And I don't think you guys are taking it this way. Don't take what I'm saying as a slight, as a, oh, I don't want that, being grumpy. No. Whoever lines up at quarterback, I'm going to be rooting for them like we going to the Super Bowl. I'm all for it too. I'm just saying, I'm putting my realistic hat on. Let me put my realistic hat on. Let me turn it to the back. Now I got on my reality hat. My realistic hat is telling me that they don't win the Super Bowl. So, if you're going to do a little bit better than we did last year, like perhaps win a playoff game, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Having Rodgers. Because most people are just going to say, oh, well, at least they won a playoff game and now people can stop saying Tom. I mean, but y'all know how y'all are still a nation. Y'all want to win or not. Boom or bust. So that's all I'm saying. But we'll see, man. Whoever lines up, I will be there. I will be there. But all right, man, y'all know the routine, man. If y'all are new to the channel, and if you're not new, both of you can do this. Hit that like button. But if you are new, hit that subscribe button as well. You might as well go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You're here anyway, right? Outside of that, make sure you turn on your notifications, because if you don't do that, how you going to know these videos are live? Huh? Tell me how you going to know. And then outside of that, happy to be back in the seat, man. I went to Florida last Thursday. We got back this morning. And I almost slipped up and said it last week, but it was a surprise, man, for my father-in-law who had hip surgery. He's doing great. He's doing great. Had surgery yesterday morning, and he's doing great. But we surprised him and went down, but I almost slipped and said it on the show because sometimes they watch. So that's why, if y'all remember last week, I was like, yeah, but I had to catch it because we surprised him. He had no idea, man, and he appreciated that. But I'm back, man. So, yeah. Anything comes, anything breaks this week, man, and I got to do an emergency show, I will, or emergency, pre-recorded show, I will. And there you have it. But outside of that, man, for you Madden heads, a video will be following this stream. Give it a little bit, a few minutes, and then I'm going to go watch some playoff basketball. But outside of that, make sure you guys stay healthy, stay safe. God bless. Good night. Like always, I thank each and every one of you all for tuning in, and I shall catch you in the next one.